Hey everyone, on this episode of Under the Radar, we are talking about the Benrus Ultra-Deep reference 6089. It is a super compressor and it is a really cool watch, this one in specific. So Benrus has kind of received a good amount of notoriety in the past year or so. I would say it's been a really big year for vintage Benrus, just in general, mainly because of the notoriety that the Type 1s and Type 2 military, sort of Vietnam era watches have kind of brought to the surface. We're seeing those just kind of go up in value like crazy, and we've done a bunch of videos on those in the past. But today I want to shed some light on another Benrus watch, the Ultra-Deep, because it's a really cool watch. It's kind of rising in popularity right now, but I think a lot of people still don't know about it to the extent of other Benrus watches that are getting a little bit more clout within, like media and articles of what people are writing about. And the Ultra-Deep just kind of in its own right is a really cool watch, being that it is a super compressor. So super compressor cases for diving watches were produced in the later part of the 1950s, but they really popularized themselves in the 1960s. Oftentimes they're referred to as EPSA cases because the super compressor design was patented by Irvin Perquez, SA, in 1956, but we just say EPSA for short because it's a lot easier to pronounce. But this style case was a pretty interesting design, something that we didn't really see before. And it's a certain type of case back and mid case design that the farther the watch is submerged into water, the more water resistant it becomes. So it has to do with the pressure of diving, and how deep you go is just a really interesting and cool way of thinking about the water resistance of a watch. A lot of different companies utilize the super compressor design and they kind of put their own twists on them. We see, Enicar using super compressors. We see Longines using them a lot. Wittenauer, Hamilton had them. And all of those other sort of watches were really cool within their own right. But the Benrus and the Ultra-Deep just in general was kind of the premier diving watch for Benrus at the time. And this was kind of what like the forefront of diving technology was at this point in time. I just like how Benrus kind of designed this watch specifically and kind of their overall layout of the design. A lot of different super compressors from different manufacturers during this era utilized inner rotating bezels, but I just like how Benrus kind of presented theirs. I think it's very like simple and contemporary design. And I also like their dial layout. It kind of has like this, you see a lot of the dial when you look at the watch. It's very high visibility, and the hands kind of have this super unique shape. It's not a shape that you really see in any other watch from this era. It's not necessarily like a Mercedes. It's not necessarily like a lollipop or like a syringe style hand. It's a very unique handset, and I think that makes the watch just kind of unique for super compressors during this time. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're becoming a little bit more popular. There is one thing about the watches is it does have a 666 feet depth rating. So it's kind of within that realm of the devil divers. We see like Bulova very notably using the same depth rating during this era. And it kind of has like that sort of like creepy sort of, I don't know why they would put 666 on the dial when they could just put 665 or 667. They really were very specific about 666. Anyways, it's in that sort of like devil diver sort of range of watches during this era. So it kind of has like that bit of mystique of why they did that, why they put that depth rating on the dial. This one in specifically I want to talk about just a little bit because it is a really, really incredible just variant of this watch. This one specifically has really incredible pumpkin patina of the luminous markers. And what I mean by pumpkin is I'm talking about the patina that the luminous material, like the tritium composition on the dial, has taken on. And it's just like this really vibrant orange coloration. And anytime I can get some sort of patina like this, it's always something that we at Craft and Tailored are always trying to hunt down, because it is really special for these watches and it is really unique. Other than the dial patina on this one, I kind of want to talk about its case and, you know, its originality just as a whole. The case profiling is really sharp and in very good condition. As you'll find, some of these, they kind of have the case that is very similar to like the Hoyer compression cases of like the 2446Cs of a similar era, because those were also designed by EPSA. You get those cross-hatched crowns that are very characteristic with super compressors as well. And I love how they do the date window on these watches. It's of course an acrylic crystal, but the Cyclops is actually flush with the top of the crystal, and it's actually, the magnification comes from underneath. So you don't kind of get that big bubble that you would normally get with a date window on, say, like a Rolex Datejust. It's a little bit more discreet, and I think just as functional. In terms of the Benrus 6089 Ultra Deeps being an under the radar watch, I think that these watches just haven't really hit their ceiling yet, and I think that they still have a lot of room to grow within the marketplace, and also just in terms of their overall awareness within the market, which is mainly why I wanted to do a video on them, because for the most part these watches can be found under $4,000, which I feel like you're getting a lot of watch for your dollar, sort of watch for dollar ratio when it comes to these Benruses, because they are such impressive watches and they are just so nice to have on the wrist, especially if you can find one with, you know, a really nice case or a really cool dial patina. That level of interest is just going to continue to grow, especially with just the Benrus name growing in notoriety right now. So I just think that now is probably the time to buy these, as opposed to, you know, 6 or 7 months from now, because I really see like a rapid increase in these watches within the market and just in desirability. So with that, thanks for watching. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe for more content just like this, and comment down below if you have any questions, or if you have an under the radar watch that you think I should talk about in the future. And follow us on Instagram at Craft and Tailored. And if you have any watch questions, we're here to help. You can email us directly at info@craftandtailored.com. See you next week.